The 5 precepts, 5 moral principles, 5 gates to keep our minds from wandering into ignorance. These precepts are not chains, but means to keep our minds calm and our actions pure. But do we truly understand the profound and hidden meaning within each precept? The first precept, not killing. Not killing isn't just about refraining from taking lives. It's about keeping compassion within us alive, untarnished by cruelty. When we kill, whether it's a human or an animal, we are not only taking a life, but we are also destroying the purity within ourselves. Do not let your hands be stained with blood. Do not allow your mind to nurture destructive thoughts. Only when our hearts are filled with compassion, when our actions cause no suffering to others, do we truly uphold this precept. And at that moment, deep within, we will feel a true sense of peace. But ask yourself, in every thought and smallest action, have we truly abandoned the idea of killing? Every time we intentionally or unintentionally hurt someone, we are already breaking this precept. Not only through the physical act of killing, but also when we harm others emotionally, when we cause pain through our words or deeds. We lose our compassion and sow seeds of harm within our hearts. The second precept, not stealing. This precept keeps our hearts from being overtaken by greed, prevents our hands from reaching out for what does not belong to us. When we steal, it's not just material things we take. We also lose our honesty, our integrity. When greed takes over, we lose ourselves, pulled deeper into the darkness of selfishness. But do we understand that every time we covet, every time we desire to possess something, we are losing our freedom, imprisoning ourselves in the net of ownership? Look deeply within. Have we ever taken someone's trust, someone's hope, just because of our own selfish desires? When we steal, it's not only about taking something away, we also lose our self-respect. Not stealing is not just about keeping our hands clean, but keeping our soul untainted by greed. Only when we know how to be content, to let go, can we truly be at peace. The third precept, refraining from sexual misconduct. This is not just about controlling lust, but about keeping both the mind and body pure. When we let desires control us, we lose our self-discipline. We lose the purity of our true nature. Sexual misconduct isn't only physical, it is also those thoughts, those distorted desires that stain our minds. Lust is like a fire, burning everything, leading us astray, making our souls restless. When our minds are led by desire, we lose the clarity to see the consequences of our actions. We easily become captivated, carried away by momentary emotions, and in the end, we are left with nothing but regret and sorrow. Refraining from sexual misconduct is to keep our mind peaceful, to protect our true values. When we can control our desires, when we maintain purity, we will find deep inner peace. The third precept, refraining from sexual misconduct. This is not just about controlling lust, but about keeping both the mind and body pure. When we let desires control us, we lose our self-discipline. We lose the purity of our true nature. Sexual misconduct isn't only physical, it is also those thoughts, those distorted desires that stain our minds. Lust is like a fire, burning everything, leading us astray, making our souls restless. When our minds are led by desire, we lose the clarity to see the consequences of our actions. We easily become captivated, carried away by momentary emotions, and in the end, we are left with nothing but regret and sorrow. Refraining from sexual misconduct is to keep our mind peaceful, to protect our true values. When we can control our desires, when we maintain purity, we will find deep inner peace. The fourth precept, not lying. Words, when used correctly, can save people, can be the guiding light. But when we lie, Words become weapons, hurting and destroying everything. Every time we lie, we not only lose others' trust, but also deceive ourselves, clouding our own minds. When we lie, we plant seeds of anxiety and suffering within. Have you ever thought that one lie can break a relationship, hurt a heart, and cause you to lose inner freedom? Words are the sharpest weapons. When we know how to speak truthfully, we preserve the purity of our minds and earn the respect of others. Not lying means keeping our hearts clear, untainted by deceit. The fifth precept, not consuming intoxicants. This is not just about avoiding alcohol, but about avoiding anything that clouds our minds, that makes us lose our clarity. When we let intoxicants take over, we lose control of ourselves, and then all the other precepts are easily broken. Not consuming intoxicants is about keeping the mind clear so that wisdom can guide our every step, our every action. Whenever we let our minds be clouded by intoxicants, we lose the ability to see the truth, to discern right from wrong. Only when we are sober and clear-headed can we act rightly, can we uphold the precepts. Intoxicants not only damage the body, but also blur the mind, trapping us in a cycle of ignorance and suffering. The 5 precepts. These are not restrictions, but gates to true freedom. Only by upholding these precepts can we truly find peace within our hearts. When we respect life, let go of greed, control our desires, speak truthfully, and maintain mental clarity, we are on the right path to enlightenment. Every step on this path brings us closer to liberation, to a true sense of peace within ourselves. By practicing the 5 precepts, we not only protect ourselves, but also contribute to a better world. A person who keeps the precepts is a beacon of light for those around them. Every action, every thought we have impacts the world around us. Let us keep our minds pure, live according to the precepts, so that our lives may be filled with peace and meaning. Compassion is not merely a concept that exists in scriptures, but a living practice embedded in every moment of life. When we deeply understand compassion, our mind opens to a clear path, leading us away from the entanglements of suffering. No longer do we view the world through the lens of selfishness. Instead, we see with deep empathy, recognizing the pain in every glance, in every smile of those around us. Compassion is the source of boundless love, the brilliant light in the dark night of impermanence. When compassion arises within us, hatred and anger naturally dissolve, giving way to peace and serenity. Yet, to truly grasp the value of compassion, we must turn inward, reflect upon ourselves, and face the deepest pain within our own hearts. Why? Because only when we touch the sorrow within can we truly understand the pain of others. Compassion is not merely feeling sympathy for the suffering of others, but is also acceptance, unconditional forgiveness. Compassion is neither indulgence nor leniency. It is the letting go and understanding. When we genuinely live with compassion, we no longer expect others to treat us in any particular way. We no longer feel hurt or disappointed by the actions of others because our hearts have expanded like the vast ocean, unaffected by the waves of greed, anger, and ignorance. A person who practices compassion knows how to forgive and how to embrace. Buddha once taught that a person with compassion harbors no resentment in their heart, for anger is a fire that burns away all good things. When we hold on to resentment, we are only setting ourselves aflame, imprisoning ourselves in the cycle of suffering. In contrast, when compassion reigns, the heart becomes like a torch, illuminating and dispelling the darkness of affliction. When compassion is present in us, we no longer distinguish between friend or foe, between close ones or strangers. Compassion does not place conditions. It does not differentiate between high and low, rich and poor. It is infinite love, a deep empathy for all beings. We do not only love those who are good to us, but we also love those who have hurt us, because they too are trapped in their suffering, caught in the spiral of ignorance. In this life, everyone desires love. Everyone longs for peace. Yet we often cause harm to one another because of selfishness and greed. Compassion is the medicine that heals all wounds. When we know how to love and empathize with the suffering of others, we no longer see life as a battlefield filled with strife and hatred. We begin to see peace manifest in every moment of existence. Compassion is when, seeing someone make a mistake, we do not rush to judge, do not let anger rise, but open our hearts to understand that everyone has moments of weakness. Compassion is when, seeing someone in sorrow, we do not turn away but are willing to stay beside them, even in silence, so they know they are not alone. Compassion is the act of giving without expecting anything in return, love without condition, help without demand for compensation, simply the joy in the heart. Compassion is not weakness, it is immense strength. When we live with compassion, fear no longer binds us, nor are we influenced by negative thoughts. Compassion helps us transcend all suffering, allowing us to face life with courage, with firm belief that all things shall pass, and only love will remain. But compassion does not arise spontaneously. It must be cultivated, nurtured day by day. Begin with the smallest acts, a smile to a stranger, a word of comfort to someone sad, a helping hand when someone is in need. These small actions gradually nurture the growth of compassion within us. As compassion strengthens, we will no longer be troubled by life's trivialities. Worries, anger, and distress will fade, making room for peace. Compassion is also unconditional acceptance. Acceptance that life is inherently imperfect, that people are not flawless. Acceptance that at times, we too will make mistakes, and we too will need forgiveness. When we can accept ourselves, forgive ourselves, then we can truly forgive and love others. In daily life, we encounter many who provoke our irritation, who disrupt our peace. But instead of reacting with anger or blame, let us look deeply into them, to see that perhaps they too are carrying a pain we cannot see. It is this pain that drives their actions. When we understand this, our hearts will soften and love will arise naturally. Compassion is the key to unlocking the door of happiness. When we know how to live with compassion, we will no longer feel alone, no longer feel abandoned in this life, because we have become part of the stream of love, a part of the vast and boundless existence. We will no longer yearn for grand things, no longer feel lacking, for our hearts are already full of love and peace. However, compassion is also voluntary. It cannot be forced. It cannot be coerced. Compassion only truly blossoms when we willingly open our hearts, willingly love, willingly give without expectation. At that moment, we will see that compassion is the root of true happiness, the source of liberation from all suffering. Compassion is not only for others, but also for ourselves. We must learn to love ourselves, care for ourselves, so we may continue on the journey of compassion. When we live in purity and peace, when we know how to love and forgive ourselves, only then can we love and forgive others fully. Compassion is the eternal flame, the torch that lights the path to enlightenment. And finally, remember, compassion is an action. Take action today. Open, listen, feel, and love.